evening, everyone. This is your host, Sleepy Kesh, here from Forge After Dark with our special guest, Mr. Jonathan. That's Sam, our
Hello.
um, man who likes to buy green skins.
my wallet hates you guys for the past few months.
Nah, it's fine. My wallet hates me too. Still be fine. All right. Welcome to Faction Focus Orruk Warclans. Continuing our glorious Orktober streams, we're going to be discussing the combined battle tome of the Orruk Warclans in Age of Sigmar. So, tonight on Faction Focus Friday, we're gonna talk about which war game fits your lifestyle. So we're gonna discuss if you should be going into Warcry or Age of Sigmar or both. Both is good. Why the Orc War clans are for you, or yeah, or not, but they probably are because like orcs are fun, and how you can get started fast and how you can scale up in actually starting your Orc army. So first of all, we talk about whether or not you're going to big army or skirmish combat. So, Age of Sigmar is all about big armies on the field with lots of models, and it's about creating a spectacle. A lot of diorama pieces are there. You have gods, you have hordes of orcs flooding the field, you have goblins, etc. You also have giants, horse
Squigs.
people, squigs. Yes, of course, though it is a huge investment in terms of assembly time as well as paying time. And depending on the army, it's not necessarily expensive. But once again, this is not one of those armies that's not necessarily expensive. John's wallet will tell you that this is one of the slightly more
Sigh.
expensive armies out there. And then we have Warcry, which is the cheaper way to start it. It's a small squad with a few models where all of your stuff gets like up close and personal, and it's a model to model face off. It's a smaller investment in terms of assembly time and playing time, but there is that tendency to like collect all of the war bands available for every faction. But that your mileage may vary on that. Like that's mostly Mikey and to a lesser extent Eric. I only do that for death. John, do you collect all of the war cry war bands for destruction?
See, I don't. I'm not even at the stage where I know what a war band is. I just know that the guys I got from Dominion are compatible with Warcry, which is thank
Aha,
God. So
excellent.
I
Well,
can.
lucky
Oh,
for
thank
you.
Gork. Thank Gorka Morka.
Yes. Well, luckily for you, you must have been wearing blue. Um, mosquito. Anyway, so lucky for you, we have this glorious stream to tell you all about what you should be getting for Zeva Cry. So like this like our the temptation of Dre Corpus, our last episode of Faction Focus. This is gonna be a lot of temptation on you, man.
I was already tempted by you know since you fixed my pre-orders
Oh yes.
uh, I ended up ordering a bunch from then and I'll probably end up ordering a bunch from now, so
Yes. I am the snake in the garden and all that jazz.
the
It's
apple's
like,
so
would you like this
tasty.
nice fruit?
It's tasty.
Yeah.
More importantly, it's pretty.
Oh yes, definitely the pretty part. So, who are the Orruk Warclans? The Orruk Warclans are actually three separate armies in one book. GW has this thing where they actually have been cramming different armies together to form like mega factions. Speaking of temptation, hello, it's Dre.
Just
so
fighting temptations. Yeah.
so you may see a lot of stuff here that you may also want to add or proxy into your orc army. And of course, our regular viewer, Michael, who
Hi,
also
Michael.
is in Glorious Orok Hell. So here's another person who'll be gloriously tempted tonight. And no, Mikey is still in the land of plague quarantine. So he should
Mhm.
be back in a few days, but not soon enough for tonight. Though hopefully by next week I can dump a lot more stuff on him and then just sleep because I am utterly exhausted. For those who don't know, we recently reopened the Dragon Fortune UP Town Center, and by recently I mean earlier today, and I just came from there, and I am tired. That's why I'm a bit yawny today. So like look at these orcs here. Like they're also yawning, like their mouths are all open, except the cruel boy. So who are the three armies that make up the Orruk Warclans? First of all, there are the Iron Jaw Z. Yeah.
Chonk.
They're actually the Iron Jaws or the Iron Jaw Z as they were called by our friend Nathan, who like read the box and like, hey, what's Iron Jaw Z? And we're like, you
That's
know what? We like that better.
that's after the initial Iron Jaw run when Gordrak grows up and he starts collecting the
Yeah,
Iron
yeah.
Jaw.
The initial one is when Gordrak was a young boy collecting
Yeah.
all the Iron Jaws and summoning like his chunky dragon to grant his wish, which is just
Yeah.
smashing things.
Yes.
Yeah. And all right, so who are the Iron Jaws? The Iron Jaws are the chunky boys. They are
So
the yes, they are they your favorite, John?
I don't know. Like I initially got started with Cruel Boys and Dominion, but then like I ended up getting a Gordrak, and he's so pretty.
Yeah, the cabbage is a great model, honestly. So the cabbage dragon is like this big dragon over here. We call it the cabbage dragon because it looks like a cabbage, honestly. This one's a red cabbage. It can be a green cabbage. It can be a purple cabbage or a winter cabbage. So like there are various types of cabbages. So it's a mushroom riding a cabbage. Anyway, first of all, like orcs in the setting are not mushrooms like in 40k. Um, And Michael claims that the Iron Jaws are the best. So we're gonna be talking about if they are actually the best later today. So they're the chunky boys. They do ride like pigs into battle sometimes, but they're all about being chunky, very choppy. I don't believe you actually have any shooting in this army. So yay.
Parang wala nga.
Yeah, wala. Yeah, no, but that's fine. All you need to do is like kill them in melee anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're all
Yes.
about survivability. They're all about the chunk, and even their boars and their dragons are chunkier than the other factions. Now, who are the bone splitters? This is the closest you come to like the old Green Tide horde here in AOS. I call them the stripper orcs because they're basically savage orcs who are half naked and they're armored in magical war paint that gives them like a save. So
That's a little more than half naked.
yeah, but I just like call them the stripper orcs,
Sounds right.
the Iskork Morenos. Yeah. And who are the cruel boys? The cruel boys are actually the orcs from the Hobbit. So why do you say this? Because they look like the orcs from Lord of the Rings.
Pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, they are the sexier ones, the slimmer ones. And unlike the other orcs who are burly and all about just getting in close and are just generally incarnations of Gork. These ones are like more worshippers of Mork and they like being the sneaky ones, the clever ones, and they actually have like really good shooting.
Woo!
Yeah, and their shooting is pretty cheesy. We'll get there. So building and painting Orruk Warclans. First of all, you see this paint. It's called Orc Contrast Orc Flesh. You will get like 3 pots of this.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Can confirm.
yeah, one of the most painful things about painting orcs in either flavor is actually painting the orc skin. But luckily, we have the glories of the the contrast paint line nowadays. So you don't have to like suffer through 3 layers of green in on every single model. You just plop and drop. You can actually paint the entire army with just contrast paints. John, I'm just gonna hit the bathroom real quick. So why don't you tell the viewers what it's like to build and paint the Orruk Warclans BRB?
Sure. So, like, I got this model, Gorjak, the Fist of Gork, recently. The assembly, GW Plastic. I mean, I have a bunch of other models from other games, other companies. GW Plastic is really, there's just no, they're the top of their game right now. There's no better plastic model miniature maker right now. So, like, this chunky dragon and orc came in 3 flat sprues, and somehow, like, they perfectly fit together to make this big ass chunky dragon. So this was the before pick I bought because that I took because I just wanted to put a little. I wanted to test out what the paint looks like, and like what Kesh mentioned, this red over here is actually Blood Angel red, I believe.
Blood Angels Red.
So
Yeah.
yeah, because contrast works especially well with a really textured model. It
Hmm.
really. I also did Zenithal highlighting, so if you notice, like the the upper areas are spray painted white, while the lower areas are gray or black. So they work. Zenithal highlighting works really well with contrast, so that you can get these highlights and shadows with just like a single pass of paint.
Yeah, that's actually what contrast was made for. It's absolutely amazing when it comes to these things. So later we're gonna show you the completed photo of this, and it's pretty awesome. Like just point out like all the stuff that you use contrast on, and like walk us through it
Yeah,
later. So
sure.
how have you been finding the new Cruel Boys in model wise, like in terms of building and painting?
They're amazing. Like I was actually talking about the plastic while you were
Yeah,
out.
don't worry, I
The
heard.
it's really amazing how perfectly the models fit together. There are a few that were push fit, which can be kind of annoying, but just take out the peg and it works a lot better for me personally. The models are just amazing. There's like sometimes I think they're too detailed. Like you can see the chest that's under the cloak that you would never see from a tabletop, but it's there, it's modeled, and it looks great. But it's also a hassle for me because I have to paint it because even if you can't see it, I'll know that it's not painted, and that will destroy my soul.
Yeah, you know that it's there. It's like the rest of us who paint the interior of our tanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you know that it's painted, and you feel bad if it's not.
indeed.
All right. Anywho, so let's get into like Orc Warclans in skirmish combat, aka Warcry. So in Warcry, there are 3 flavors of Orcs, as we talked about before: the Stripper Orcs, the Chunky Boys, and the Lord of the Rings Orcs. So they are according to Mikey, like these are all from Mikey, our resident skirmish sim. Oh, Michael says it's called Painter's Guild. Okay. Okay, I'm adding that to my lexicon. Painter's guilt.
I know
Master Jeff
this
feels no guilt because he has no conscience. He is an inveterate cheese lord whose conscience shriveled and died many years ago before we were born. So all right. So here Mikey's watching. If
Hey,
anything
Mikey.
in the war cry section is incorrect, it's utterly his fault. I'm just reading his
Yes.
slides. Yeah. So so if you notice anything or disagree with anything in the war cry section, please let us know in the comments, and it's Mikey's fault. So all right. So according to Mikey, incredibly easy to learn, just wow. So it's just killing things, but don't expect to score a lot of points from objectives, which I can see. They're orcs.
They are not that bright.
Yeah. The cool boys are.
Kind of.
S- So they have the stripper orcs. I'm gonna be calling them the stripper orcs for the entirety of I'm gonna be calling them the stripper boys, the chunky boys, and the lotter orcs for the duration of the stream. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just too tired to use proper names right now.
Sounds right.
So yeah, so they have lots of options in synergy. They're very beginner friendly. They're old school fantasy orc vibe, which is um, very savage, very primitive, and they're surprisingly unkilly for people who are mostly naked and protected by um what's his name again? Um Guy from Braveheart, arrested and anti-Semitic. Mel Gibson. Yes,
Gibson?
yes, 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 yes. So for Mel Gibson, Warpaint, they actually do pretty well at being survivable, and it's a cheap single box warband that you just buy one box and you get everything you need to play Warcry. You get like the range options, the melee options, etc. Yes, yes, Mel anti-Semitic Gibson.
Yes.
Yes. So how about the Iron Jaw Z? The Iron Jaw Z are tough and killy because they're chunky. They are very beginner friendly because chunky means very forgiving for with mistakes. So
Uh-huh.
it's like playing Space Marines, but without shooting. They're easy to paint with all those large armor panels, which you can paint in any armor color you like. It doesn't have to be yellow. Um, they're very cool looking. They're heavily armored orcs, which is pretty cool. Um, they are slow and they have no range attacks. And the start collecting Iron Jaw Z box gives you a lot of the models for mobility and special abilities. And of course, the cruel boys. We can't not talk about the primary slaughter orcs. They have lots of varieties and combos. They have shooting. They're a good start when you want to get actually technical with your play. And if you like Middle Earth's orcs in your Mortal Realms, this is where you go because their aesthetic is very Lord of the Rings. It's like the age of men is over. The
Or
time
really,
of the
if
folk has begun.
yeah, or really, if you just like pretty models, because like I literally bought the the Orruk Dominion half because they were just so pretty. Like, and they have shields with a really badly drawn face of the god. That's so.
Yeah,
That's
the
so.
shields are what they think Kragnos looks like because they haven't actually seen Kragnos.
It's so dumb, but it's so
Yeah, of
awesome.
course it's dumb. They're orcs, man. Anyway, they're versatile, but they're not as strong offensively as they appear. There's a lot more finesse that you need for using them, and they're a strict upgrade of the basic Bone Splitters experience. So as is gonna be the general trend of tonight. Whatever Bone Splitters can do, the Cruel Boys can do it better because they have clothes and are not based on Mel. gives no fucks about shoes. I love you guys. And yeah, they really do go pew pew. They arguably have better shooting than fucking Lumineth, and we're gonna get
Woo!
there. Yeah, we're gonna get there. So how do you start Orruk Warclans? It's super easy. You need one of these three boxes. For Iron Jaws, you get to start collecting. Honestly, the start collecting is amazing value. Mr. Havayanas is a must-have for any Iron Jaws army. Of course, you have your boys over here, and then you have pigs. John loves his pigs.
I
The
do. I do.
For the Age of Sigmar ones, I would actually recommend either getting the Gut Rippers box or just straight up getting a Dominion or a Harbinger set and
Mhm.
splitting the Sigmarines with someone else, because
Yes.
the Bolt Boys are just so amazing.
Mhm.
They're amazingly good and they're amazing value. And by the way, guys, we have one Octarius box set and one Dominion set left with freebies. So they're gonna be 10% off on the entirety of October. So just message the Dragonforge Facebook page and tell them na sinabi ko may 10% off sa Octarius and Dominion. Yeah. So hashtag sabi ni Kesh. So
Or
or
you could like forget splitting the box and just get the whole Dominion box for yourself, like Eric did.
yeah, that's Eric. That's totally Eric. Not Michael over here. Yeah, Michael's just tempting you guys.
Either way,
But
Dominion's
yeah,
like super sulit purchase. Like you get
mm,
each army is probably worth the price of the box itself. I would say
yeah, it is.
in terms of the amount of models. Then there's the book, which it's eh
Yeah, John's favorite
eh
part of the purchase is
eh.
of course the book. So because as everyone here who is a regular viewer of the channel knows, John absolutely loves reading. So Eric never regrets getting Dominion and keeping all of it. I mean, like the models are all good. Like honestly, there's no bad model in Dominion.
Indeed.
Um,
I think they're all new. Well, at the time of its release, they were all new models, right?
yeah, they were all new models. Yeah, and don't forget to get tons of Orruk flesh paint. Like seriously, that is not a joke. You'll need like 2 to 3 pots. Like gods, man. And then of
Especially if
course
you spill
your
your
armor
bottle.
color choice. Yeah, especially if you spill your bottles. John just spilled his snakebite
Snakebite
leather
leather.
today, which means he has to buy more snakebite leather. Um, for starting Savage Oroks, you just get the Savage Oroks box, which builds any of like the Savage Oroks on foot, which is amazing value. And there's 20 in a box, so can't go wrong with this. They are older sculpts, so don't expect them to be as pretty as your Iron Jaws or your Crew Boys. So, Orruk Warclans in AOS, they are three armies in one book with the option to soup them all together into one big Wa. So it's incredibly flexible selection. They're also surprisingly fast, even if their movement is slow, because they have a lot of things that can get you up the board really fast. So turn one charges are a thing in Orruk Warclans, which makes the entire Death faction really jealous. And you also get shooting, which makes the entire Death faction very jealous. However, unlike the entire Death faction, you also have shit bravery. So like losing a few models will make a lot of your boys run away because orcs are not very brave. Weirdly enough, for
But
sentient mushrooms, they're not very brave. This is also an issue in 40k.
it becomes less of an issue for Cruel Boys, which we'll get to later.
Yes, it does become less of an issue for crew boys. It's an incredibly big issue for bone splitters. And if there's anything you pick up from today, it's gonna be probably don't start bone splitters right now.
Oh,
Yeah. We're gonna give you like completely like honest like opinions about this shit. So the big army game types, of course, everything scales depending on the number of points you bring. Unlike 40k, it's not 500 points, which is your minimum. It's 750 for Age of Sigmar, and yeah, you will have a variable number of leader units, battle line, behemoths, artillery, depending on what game level you find yourself playing. So the allegiances. We're gonna be talking first of all about the Chunky Boys. So the Chunky Boys are the OG, at least for Age of Sigmar. Um, they have three sub factions or clans. I'm sorry, I am very sleepy. Yeah. Um, so the Iron Sons, which are the yellow guys, which are the poster boys, they're very fast troops. They're very chargy. Um, they also have an incredibly good special character in Mr. Fist of Gork on King's
Gordrak.
Giant Cabbage. Yeah, Gordrak. And the thing about AOS is you don't actually have to take the characters in their subclans. They work outside it, but they just won't get the bonuses for the keyword, which is okay for stuff that are as strong as Gordrak. The Blood Tooths, instead of wearing yellow, they wear red. So that really tells you all you need to know about them. They like to spam Gore Gruntas and going very, very fast. So if you want to play like the Speedwa in AOS, this is where you go. And last one is the Choppas. I don't actually know what color they are, but they make your War Chanters better. And Mr. Havaiana's War Chanter is actually the best, most required unit in any Iron Jaws army, which makes the start collecting set just insane value. He makes your War Chanters better and buff more, which makes your battle lines better. And your battle lines are where most of your shit is gonna be coming from. So more war chanters means better battle lines means better army. Right. So the choppas are blue and lucky. Thank you.
Yeah, I
So
read a while ago that
oh yes, John has been reading.
the Iron Jaws like to wear bright colors to attract enemies to them because they like fighting. I read two whole pages a while ago. Yeah,
That's probably more than you've read in a while, right?
it's been a while.
Though I've been hearing from Eric, you've actually been reading through your AOS core book.
A little bit. I mean, like I've gotten through like I skipped a lot of the parts that don't have pictures, but I read for the orcs just for today.
Excellent. So John, like Ian is watching just for you.
Hey Kim. Also shout out to my friends Ryan and Armo for watching. Thanks guys.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting, and I'm gonna take this time to do the general YouTuber thing, and please like and subscribe to all of our social media, particularly on the Tube of You and the Twitchy Twitch, and of course on the
Slap
Book of Face.
slap that like and
Yeah.
share and subscribe.
Yes, of course. You should definitely do that, especially if you like our content. Please do like and subscribe so we get more reach, and so Mikey finally gets paid. Yeah, and so I get paid. Though I get paid when you buy stuff, so like Mikey needs it more. Like so, please help Mikey. Uh, um, So bone splitters, this is not an important part of it because they're garbage. So you have three sub factions. Yeah, the bone grincer one are the incredible Daka. They increase the Daka of your arrow boys by one, which is really really good. Ice bone lets you become luminous and deal mortal wounds on a six. Yeah. So, but who does that naturally? Cruel
Luminous.
boys.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
oh.
yeah. So like, why even? And the Drakfoot ignore ward saves because fuck Archeon. They used to be anti magic, but there's so much anti magic in this game that um Death Player is sad. But Archeon is actually one of the biggest problem models in AOS right now because how the fuck do you kill Archeon without using Nagash Bad Touch? The answer is you don't. You target him and you avoid him for the entire game. Just feed him things and play your mission. So like this lets you ignore ward saves, which lets you fuck Archeon. Now for the cruel boys, a lot of the
Woo!
people who actually got Dominion are gonna be starting with the Lord of the Rings orcs. You have three sub factions, of course. The Grin Blades are the very sneaky. Your units are generally invisible on the first turn unless within 12, meaning they get like minuses to hit them. So they're gonna be Raven Guard on the first turn for you 40k players out there. So the big yellers are the choice of Daka. You increase the range of your Daka weapons by a range of 3 inches. Blah, I am so sleepy. And you get one reroll to hit per unit on the first turn, which is great for your shooty stuff. And the Bolt Boys become Battle Lion to fuck up some Celestial Lions. Um, so Celestial Lions are a chapter of the Adeptus Astartes or the Spes Marines that pissed off the Inquisition and got their chapter almost entirely wiped out by orc snipers, which were totally not Imperial assassins sent by the Inquisition for pissing them off. So orc snipers have actually been a meme in 40k for a while, and Cruel Boys made them reality. And
Woo!
holy shit, like do the orc snipers deliver? I get how the Celestial Lions died. Like all this time we were maligning the Inquisition. I am sorry, Inquisition. Orc snipers are real. So and the skull bugs, which lets you sick bugs on enemy to give them -1 to hit on a 6+. 2+ if it's a monster. But why bother with skull bugs when you can go big yellers or grin and blades?
Mhm.
Big yellers in particular are the cheesy choice. So we're actually getting a lot of like the combinations that we're gonna be talking about in the comment section. The Bolt Boys plus Killabo plus Swamp Kala, and of course the 9 Bolt Boys and the Hobgrots, and just sniping the general with your insane freaking range. Yeah, but yeah, taste the cheese. There's so much cheese in this army, I swear. Um, we have there, of course, a new battle tome, so we have yet to see the general GW give it a month nerf. So
Mhm.
gonna wait. Then you can take a big wa, which is combining all of the three, and you don't get your faction abilities. Um, so that's one negative, but you do generate wa points every turn, and it's similar to power from pain in Age of Sigmar. Oh, sorry, in 40k for the Drew carry. And so basically the more heroes and stuff you have in the board and the more stuff you have in melee, the more wa points you get, and it buffs your entire army. But you're gonna be weak the first couple of turns until you start generating the wa points. and you
Hmm.
can't take your subclans. So there's a disadvantage to it, but there's also quite an advantage to it. And the best leader for this is Mr. Gordrak.
Woo!
And Jonathan, you have a hi from Rachel.
Hey, Raish. Oh, I have a question.
See,
Wow, what is it good for?
absolutely nothing. Yes, I am
uh,
actually old enough to get that reference.
yes, that's all. I kind of get what was good for.
I know that song from Power Rangers.
Ay, what's Power Rangers? Alam ko lang yun dun sa Rush Hour.
Oh yeah, it's also in Rush Hour. Was it? Yeah, Rush
Yeah,
Hour, and I believe it was in one of like I heard it in one of the episodes or one of the movies. Anyway, one of those. But
from
yeah,
the
Rush Hour
90s
is also,
because
Rush Hour
we're
did
in.
not age well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rush Hour 3 is still kind of okay, but like the rest of the Rush Hours did not age well. Okay, so of course there's the rule of cool. Play what you want. If you want some stripper orcs, if you want stripper uh Mr. Escort Moreno leading your stripper orcs into battle, you do you, fam. If you want your cabbage leading your forces of orcs into battle, do it. If you want like the giant burb vulture, you do it. If you like giant crawly golem thing that I find absolutely creepy, which we will show you later, absolutely do it. Like there is no wrong way to play Age of Sigmar except Lumineth. So just do whatever you want. Um, a nice thing about this army is like a lot of it will be viable, except bone splitters. I'm sorry. Yeah, bone splitters were so cheese in first ed, I swear. But how the mighty have fallen.
Oof.
And yeah, Eric agrees. Like the Slogoth is like the creepiest thing to look at. Like it's
Mhm.
like Dobby Gollum.
Oh, the yeah, because
Yeah,
the one that well, we'll see it later, but yeah, the other one's not as creepy. The brown one is creepy. Yeah.
so, we're gonna start with the models of the Ironjaw Z for our unit reviews. First of all is Gordrak, the Fist of Gork. So, John actually did some light reading on these guys, but he mostly
Yes.
reacted on their appearance. And if
Yes.
and honestly, that's the way to go. The way to sell you into Oroks is to tell you how cool the models are. Like, I'm gonna tell you how good they are, but like, of course, what's gonna bring you into this faction is how good the models are. And that's true for every single faction, unless you play Lumineth, where you're there for the cheese. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, John, tell us what you think about Mr. Cabbage Man.
Well, I mean, it's a guy who basically got elevated to his position because he landed on a bunch of enemies on a dragon. So everybody started believing he was cool. So he became super strong. Because that's the thing. That's actually why I got into orcs for both 40k and AOS, because they have the power of imagination.
Yeah, one thing we actually forgot to talk about in 40k is that how orcs in 40k have a gestalt psychic field that if there are enough orcs believing in a thing, it becomes reality. So like the more orcs there are, the stronger they get. The more like a rusty choppa should not be able to cut space marine armor. But if enough orcs believe that it can, it will. Orc vehicles are not supposed to function. There's actually a novel in 40k where the Iron Warriors hijack an orc plane and they were like hit the brakes and like the brakes are not working. What? It's literally a piece of metal like pasted onto onto the footrest. It's not an actual brake. Yeah, yeah, and the same thing is apparent in AOS. Like the more orcs believe in something, the more true it is. So
Mhm.
that's the thing about orcs. The power of like faith and imagination is like just multiplied if you believe.
If you
There can
believe.
be miracles when you believe. Yeah, you know who would not like that movie? Mel Gibson. Oh gosh.
Lord.
Mel Gibson is our punching bag for tonight. I'm sorry, Mel Gibson. Not really. Yeah, it's okay. He's a public figure, so we're allowed to do. Anyway, so what's different about his cabbage dragon compared to other cabbage dragon is that it has a helmet,
Yes. Like
and the
Dino
helmet
Riders.
makes it better.
It does automatically, like objectively.
Yes, we can host the first Marvel race. Yeah, but in terms of actual playstyle, he's an amazing choppy character who is an amazingly good leader for your big wa. And honestly, if you are doing a big wa, it may not be the most advisable. Like if you want to cheese, you just go like pure Iron Jaws, or you just go pure Cruel Boys. Especially you just go pure Bolt Boys and kill bows and like Swamp Collas. But if you do want a big wa and to make it really good, you should be taking Gordrak over here.
Woo!
Just beware shooting with mortal wounds and mortal wounds and shooting with mortal wounds. So Lumineth will absolutely ruin your day, and other cruel
Oh,
boys will absolutely ruin your day as well. So just be careful with those things. Like he may be chunky, but the chunky only goes so far. And yeah, I was gonna say that next. Gordrak has this thing where he spends one command point and actually affects multiple units. So that's what makes him incredibly good. So he's a great force multiplier, yet he's also chunky and choppy. Like he's everything you want. Also, his
indeed.
dragon's cute. It's
It
adorable. Look
is.
at it. It's I want to hug it.
It's
I'll
cute.
probably die, but I want to hug it.
Worth it.
Yeah. So now the mega boss on the Mock Russia, which is the generic version of the cabbage. So this is the white cabbage over here. So according to John, it's not as cool looking as Gordrak. Is
True.
it because the dragon doesn't have a helmet?
Yes, like that's 90% of it.
Oh yeah, by the way, something we have to talk about Gordrak, his axes are actually made from a splinter of the axe of Gorka Morka, which broke off when Gorka Morka like chopped into the throne of Sigmar.
Mhm.
And then what he did was he split the axe in two so that it gets skillier, because like two is skillier than one. So like he is good at the math.
I also like that since he's more Gork, so has the brutality, he decided to name one of the axes Kunnin. So he still has the cunning of Mork.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great bastardization of the whole gore father gore child thing that Angron and Karna have going on in 40k. Only this one is like a lot more hilarious.
Orcs are
Yeah, but
fun.
it's gonna be like an entire thing with the orcs when you're reading their lore. You're gonna be like, holy shit, this is so dumb. Yeah, it's so dumb that it made John read six entire
it
pages.
almost
Like
seven.
that's
Almost seven.
that's amazing, right?
It is.
So it's still really badass. It's still an orc on a chunk dragon. Um, you can increase your save to a 3 plus at the cost of two attacks. Gordrak is stuck with a 4 plus, which makes this guy actually more survivable, especially since he can take artifacts, mount rates, etc. And from what I can see online, you should always be trading the two attacks for the 3 plus save. It'll make it more worth it in the long while. So in general, you should probably be taking Gordrak, but there are arguments, depending on who you're fighting, that the mega boss on Maw Crusher could be, better or just as good. The Orruk mega boss, like John likes him because his one of his shoulders is a dinosaur.
That's awesome. Like, seriously.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like the Primarch Vulcan in 40k, who like may have been fused with the orc spirits of the Wa in 40k, but that's another story. And what who also has one of his shoulders being a dinosaur. So this guy's actually very killy and very cheap, but very slow compared to the cabbage. Either variety of the cabbage. So according to Eric, if you look at the skull on his shoulder, it's an exact match for the new Stormcast dragons. And this guy came
Ooh.
out like 3 years before the Stormcast dragons. So that's actually super cool. Um, a question from Michael: would you know if the Mega Boss and the Beast Boss have the same base size?
I do not. I haven't gotten mine yet.
Okay, so what you do, Michael, is you bug me tomorrow night and I will check, because I'm gonna be spending the entirety of tomorrow morning and afternoon just sleeping. I will be sleeping early tonight and I will be sleeping long. I'ma be taking sleeping pills and I'm not gonna wake up. NyQuil is strong. So right, he's very killy and very cheap, and probably good in small points, but is very slow compared to the cabbage. So in general, just bring the cabbage. Honestly, you have to buy this guy separately anyway, so just bring the cabbage, and he can issue commands to two Iron Jaws units with one CP as as a watered down version of Gordrak. Um, well, sorry for Michael, Evil Matt is dead, so that's what he gets for starting Titanicus behind my back. Seriously, I get back from cancellation and I have Titans? What in God's name? What in the Empress name?
Hashtag Titans
I
of
have a full
Manila.
Titan Legion. I have little robots. Then I started painting like checkers. Oh God, painting checkers. We're gonna be talking about that on our Halloween special. So anyway, this guy is okay if you want to play small points, or no, he's okay if you want to play small points, but in bigger games, just get the cabbage. The cabbage is cooler, honestly.
100%.
Now, this is not optional. You buy him. You buy two or three of him. Like, you can never have enough of him. This Orruk War Chanter, the man with the bone Havaianas. Like, he just bangs his orc Havaianas together and like hits people with them, like the mom of the Iron Jaws, the Asian mom of the Iron Jaws. Now, he's absolutely required. What he does is he gives +1 damage to the melee damage of units wholly within 15 inches, which is insane. And he also starts like slamming the beats by Dr. Dre. So to buff up like his your battle line. So honestly, this guy is absolutely required. Unfortunately, he is a web store exclusive, but luckily, he is also in the start collecting Iron Jaws. And
Yes.
as Michael has been repeatedly spamming in the comments, you get three start collecting bat Iron
There's
Jaws boxes.
walang
Incredibly
tapon
good
eh.
value. Yeah,
Like, they're all good.
incredibly good value. Like unlike in some combat patrols or start collectings na, sure, one model is essentially free, but like the rest are what you want. Everything in this box is good value, and every you want everything in this box if you're starting Orruk Warclans.
Mhm.
So absolutely, 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 if you want to go Iron Jaws, you will get multiples of the Iron Jaws box. Like you just say, Kesh, I would like you to order me 3 Iron Jaws boxes staggered over 3 months. And then I will do that for you. So that they don't all come at once and murder your wallet, just like what happened to Michael. Rip Michael's wallet.
Sigh.
Also Eric, rip Eric's wallet. Yeah, I remember Eric and like Michael like going like yabay over like your beast boss coming. And
Yeah,
like
bye.
they're even more yabay because they have like a lot of shit that came in. Yeah, Michael actually had so much shit that came in that we're looking at alternate shipping options which may be better for him because we're shipping him a giant box of stuff.
Wow.
It's a care package at this point.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Like thank you for supporting the shop. Master Jeff is going like good thing he didn't get orcs, says the guy who got guard. You've painted more guard than like orc players have to paint orcs, Master Jeff. So like you didn't really win. Anyway, so Orruk War Chanter, just get him, man. Like absolutely great value. If you're playing Iron Jaws or you're playing Big Wa, you should get
Mhm.
the Orc Weird Knob Shaman. If you remember him from our Orcs 40k special, where we recommend that you actually get him instead of the webster exclusive one for the Orcs. This is a really good model because he pukes on you. The puke is surprisingly strong. It does like deal mortal wounds. And you can do it more than once using an arcane tome or using chronomantic cogs. So he's just really good. He can also teleport your units just like in 40k. I don't think it's called the jump in this one, but like it still has that it still has the that utility. But really you want him for the fact that he throws mortal wounds over people, and it's hilarious. Like throwing up mortal wounds all over people is probably not the best use of your shaman, who does get like powered up with more orcs around him, by the way, because that's how orcs work. You're probably better off like casting spells and like teleporting your units, but puke on shit, man. It's cool. So yeah, while he's not an absolute required unit like Mr. Havayanas, he's also really good. Now, the Oruk Ard Boys, they are a very good Tarpit unit, incredibly good. You should always take the drummer to make charges easier because the drummer is free. Get the drummer, get the banner as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. According to Michael, going back to Mister Weird Knob, he can also cast the Foot of Gork, where you basically summon an enormous disembodied foot to step on your opponents and like spam damage, and just leaves like a footprint of Gork on the ground.
Of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course, it's orcs. What do you expect? So the Arb boys, very good Torpit unit. The one their big problem why they're not like a blender unit is that they don't have rend.
Mhm.
So they're actually better at being an anvil than they are at being the hammer. You you can buy them individually, but you'll be getting a lot of them from the three start collecting Iron Jaws boxes
Yep.
that you're buying. So you don't have to worry about these guys. They're absolutely good value. You're gonna be bringing a lot of them. Now this is where your rend comes from. They're the extra chunky brutes. You have the option between the long weapon or the double stabby weapon. Though the long weapon is probably better because it does include rend in an army where the only rend really comes from your heroes. So it's really good. And what they do is they actually bully one wound enemy troops on objectives where they don't count holding objectives if they only have one wound, because like we are big and we are bully. So like bugbog o dignidad. So Orok brutes are really good at going after like horde armies holding objectives. Like that horde of 20 zombies no longer holding an objective. That horde of rats, nope. So it's not gonna be as good against Stormcast battle lines, but there's a lot of horde armies in this game and a lot of one wound models in this game that like to hold objectives, and the Orc brutes will just like get you a ton of mileage. Now, the Gorgruntas, the pigs. Of course, they're riding pigs. They're
Are
riding chunky,
awesome.
chunky pigs. They don't ride squigs in this one. It's mostly the goblins who ride the squigs in AOS. But you get giant boars.
Hmm.
They're chunky pig things. They're like, according to John, they're like horses, but better because they're chunk. And
Yes.
for Eric, they're better because they're not horses. Eric and his hatred of horses. Yeah. So what they do is they do mortal wounds on the charge, and more mortal wounds are dealt if you're bringing the um the spears. So you should always use the spears if you're not doing MSU. And they're really fast. They're as fast as the cabbages, so they're really good with any cabbage of any flavor. They're unfortunately web store exclusive, but you don't have to buy any like individual kits because you'll be getting 9 from the 3 start collecting iron jaws that you're gonna be buying.
Indeed.
Uh, Michael says that you should get the Squig Boys as proxy. Um, I
I have those.
personally, I personally like the pigs. I don't know. I
I
just like
like
the pigs.
I like both. That's why I got both.
I mean, I can eat pigs, but I don't like eating mushrooms. So I'm going with the pigs.
Uh,
So Iron Skull's boys are the old Shadespire warband. They are actually better boys than your regular R boys, but they are locked to Iron Skulls and they have a set loadout. So they're also Webstar exclusive. So they're not really required, but if you have them, they're not really bad to include in your army. They're not the best, but if you really like the models, they are not like the other war bands in AOS where they're only good for proxying other models. So these guys are actually decent, and these guys are even more decent, more Gox Crushers. They're from Beastgrave.
oh.
Though recently they went out of sale na. So we're expecting
Oh.
them to come out as a web store exclusive kit without the cards. They're also Iron Suns, and they're actually also not as bad. They're like brutes, but honestly, I would still just go with the brutes unless you really like the models.
I do, kind of.
Now, the Bone Splitters. First of all, we have to tell you that these guys are bad now. I'm sorry. They used to be the kings of cheese in first edition. They just spammed so many shots with like a lot of saves, and it was just really really dumb and really really cheesy and undercosted. But the mighty have fallen so very far. Now, most of the characters here are going to be website exclusive, which is another disincentive to playing this subfaction. The Wargog Prophet can generate more CP and cast an Unbind too, which is pretty good for a wizard casting to an Unbinding 2. A lot of wizards out there only cast an Unbind 1. So he's pretty good, but again, he's webstore exclusive and it is an older model. Um, the Wardock, he dances to give buffs. He's a dancer. And instead of his dance can either heal, increase your saves, or give bonuses to wizards. If you're playing Bone Splitters at all, this guy is absolutely required. You're gonna have to bite the bullet and do the web store. Like
Mhm.
you have to bring him. Now, the Savage Big Boss. He's a melee dude with an old model. I call him Iscork Moreno, the king of the Slipper Orcs. Um, I mean, he's kind of but he's okay for a melee build that's small points. But honestly, not the best. compared to the killier versions in the other two sub factions. Plus, he's a very old model. Like, see how
Yeah.
his base is even square in the photo.
Uh, Honestly, like, that's more. So say, if it isn't obvious, I don't know much about the rules since I haven't gotten a game in yet. I'm basically buying based on looks. Like, the bone splitters just don't appeal to me just because they're older sculpts. They're not as dynamic as the new ones.
Now, the maniac weird knob. While he is on a pig, his pig is not as chunky. Um, However, he is a very fast wizard who is also surprisingly decent in melee. If you're playing Bone Splitters, you should probably get this guy. He's incredibly efficient compared to the other six and Bone Splitters. But I don't really like the model. He has one of those really thick stabs from like the olden days of Warhammer Fantasy. So yeah,
Hmm.
Eric, it's an old pig. Now, the Savage Orcs are actually a plastic kit, and they're not all that bad. They're the cheapest anvil unit in the entire Orruk Warclans. If you want to spam Green Tide, this is how you spam Green Tide. They're two wounds with a 5 plus save, so they're okay. They're not gonna be like amazing. And between the option of the hand weapons and the spears, you should always get the spears because as a horde player, um, you're gonna want the reach over the better to hit rolls. So if you are at all building Savage Oroks for AOS, you should be building them with spears. If you're building them for Warcry, it's gonna vary depending on what you want. But for Warcry, Bone Splitters are really cheap buy because you just buy one box and you have everything. But for AOS, it's gonna be very expensive. So now the Savage Boar Boy Maniacs, yes, more old pigs. See,
Ah,
their pigs are not as chunky; they're lean, which means their marbling is probably not as good either. So they
oh,
do have lots of attacks, and the Savage Boar Boy Maniacs are battle line only in Bone Splitters. So they're not gonna be battle line if you take them in the Big Wa. They have lots of attacks and have better bravery than the non um, maniac version of the Savage Boar Boys. And you also have the Savage Orok More Boys, which are the battle line and bone splitters only. They are the elite version of the Savage Oroks. They get a permanent +1 to hit if any enemy monsters have been killed. So if you're monster hunting, you could do worse. But if you want to go monster hunting, you should be doing Cruel Boys.
mhm.
Yeah. Now, Savage Orc Arrow Boys are only battle line in Bone Grins, which is what you should be playing if you're at all playing um, the sub faction. So, Savage Orc Arrow Boys were the original Luminate Sentinels. They used to shit out a ton of shooting. They were hard to get rid of. They were the OG cheese. They aren't anymore. They're expensive. They don't really do much. They lost a ton of shots, and you're either gonna be bringing a lot of them or you're not gonna be bringing any at all. And if you aren't bringing any at all, why the hell are you even playing stripper orcs? Because this is the reason you play stripper orcs. You want to spam your savage orc arrow boys. This is really the only viable build. I'm sorry, strip orcs. That's the only thing
Oh,
you have going for you.
one sec. Sorry.
Sure, I hear a doggo. So,
Sorry. One sec.
sure. What is wrong with the doggo? I am very worried about that doggo. Yeah, I have one, and he's a very good behaved boy. Yes, he's not gonna be on stream tonight because he's a good boy who had a bath, so he's very tired, just like me. And unlike me, who has to run a stream, he can like sleep early. All right. There's the dog over there in the background. So once John gets his headphones back, we're gonna request like close-ups of the doggos. Right. Can we get like close-ups of the doggo to increase our
Sorry,
viewership? Doggo! Holy shit!
this
Is
is
that a
clean.
Maltese?
Yes, we have
We also have a
five.
Maltese.
We have five.
Ah, it's a cloud.
She is a
Ah,
crybaby. That's
hello.
that's why I had to. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption, but yeah,
No problem. You gave us doggo, so we are happy. The dog tax is paid.
always happy
So
to provide.
yeah, the Savage or Boar Boys are also battle line and Bone Grins only. Yet another incentive to play Bone Grins. There's Savage Orc on a pig, and Jonathan likes pigs, but these are the lean pigs with like the stripper orcs on them with
They just
diapers.
they just don't look as cool. What
Yeah,
pigs are supposed to be chunky?
nope. These are lean meat. So they get a +1 to hit and wound on the charge, so always be charging with them. But they are older models, they're not as nice. So I honestly don't recommend going Bone Splitters if you're starting. Um, if you're actually starting out, you go Iron Boys or Cruel Boys.
Yum.
Now we're gonna be talking about the Lotter Orcs. So first of all is the Vulture. Gobsprak, the Mouse of Mork. He's the Gordrak equivalent for this section. Note how like the Fist of Gork and the Mouth of Mork are in two of the factions and the Bone Splitters get nothing. Yeah, yeah, don't go Bone Splitters. So this guy is a troll because he just dispels shit. He damages wizards if he gets the dispel off, which makes me really, really angry as a Death Wizard player. He's very fun and annoying to your opponent, especially if your opponent has wizards. And chances are your opponent is gonna have wizards, unless you're fighting dwarves. But if you're fighting Lumineth or if you're fighting Kesh, you're gonna be fighting a lot of wizards, and you're gonna make them very sad. He's probably not good as Gordrak on Cabbage, but he's not bad. If you like vultures, you should definitely get that. What's a wizard? The things that you spam in Lumineth, Eric.
I thought it was like just bows and like arrows of death and lumineth.
Alright. So in Savage Oroks, there's a reason we didn't put the head kraka here anymore. One, because it's fallen far from like what it used to be, and second of all, GW doesn't even sell it anymore. So I feel like it's gonna get squatted. So like I didn't really bother with it. So it's gonna go away. Now, the Swamp Boss Scumdrek is the Grinnin Blades named hero. He's a slightly better version of the Snatcha Boss for 5 points more, but cannot take enhancements because he is unique. If you're running Grinnin Blades, there's you can probably take him, but the Swamp Collar is a really good generic. Now, the Killer Boss on Corpse Ripa Vulture is a very fast melee boss. So, he's 14 wounds with 14-inch movement with a 4 plus save. There is a pattern to this guy. He likes the 14s and the 4s. He can use a command ability even if someone has used that command ability in the same phase, but he can't use it on the same target. So if you want to get a lot of mileage of your command abilities and you like melee better than making all your friends with wizards sad, this is how you can build your Vulture. But if you want to make your friends with wizards sad, you probably go with Mr. Wizard Vulture. Now the Snatcher boss on Sludge Raker Beast. Um, he has the light version of the Nagash Bad Touch, where you can kidnap a single model with 7 wounds or less by rolling a d6, 2d6 to beat their wounds characteristic. And if you do, eh, you catch them and you remove them from play. And it's model, so you can snipe things out of a squad, or you can kill heroes. He also has a 12-inch aura that buffs your venom encrusted weapons that increases their damage by 1 on a natural 6. So put them near your bolt boys and you pretend to be Lumineth and just let the cheese flow.
Yeah, I forgot that girl boys have give tetanus.
Yes, cruel boys generally have venom encrusted, venom tipped weapons, venom encrusted weapons. Um, that lets them do mortal wounds on a 6, which makes me very jelly because only zombies get that, and now their entire army gets it. So like, fucking Lumineth. Oh, sorry, fucking cruel boys. So Michael has been bugging me about the break a boss, and so has John. He's been
Oh,
like, "Is there a break a boss? Oh, the break a boss." So break a
oh,
boss has, yeah,
all I'm saying is if somebody like forgot to pick up their shipments go missing sometimes. Like, I mean, another breakup boss is arriving in a month or so.
you can beg Michael to let you have his, but yeah, because he
Probably not gonna
pre-ordered,
happen.
so he's getting his, and you were like, "No, I'm gonna pass." But don't worry, I already ordered yours. It's gonna be coming. So this boy has so many attacks, and it heals because it's a troll. It has the
I think
Trogoth keyword, which
yeah, I
lets
think
it
it
heal.
starts with 8 or 9 attacks.
Yeah, I believe you can damage. You can whip and damage the Trogoth to like increase your damage output,
Hmm.
and he's quite slow, so he's very susceptible to fucking Lumineth and the other cruel boys. But once he gets there, things will die. However, somehow he does not have the monster keyword. I don't know why. But hey, Michael says he'll think about it.
Oi, oi. Hmm.
So next one is the Killaboss and Great Nash Tooth. Oh, by the way, if I haven't stated it, this guy you should get it. I'm not sure how many you should get. Maybe two.
Hmm.
So Killaboss on Great Nash Tooth. Um, he's really good because he has ways to mitigate the shit tier bravery of orcs by letting only one dude run away from battle shock, which is amazing.
It's
I-
all part
It's
of the
it's
plan.
it's previous edition for TK orcs, it's why they were good in hordes before. So this guy is so good. And he's very hard to kill. He's very survivable, and he does have a big dog, and he does also have his poisoned weapons. So he also has decent damage output. But um, you should probably be bringing him if you're bringing larger units. If you're gonna be spamming MSU, you're not gonna get as much mileage out of him. So he's really good, but it will let me get some water. But it will depend on what your build is.
Hmm. I think this was actually the model that convinced me to get Dominion.
Yeah, it is a very cool model. He's riding a warg, man.
Yeah.
He's like Azog, but not white.
Oh, you can paint them white. That's
Yeah,
the
that's true. That's true.
fun
That's
thing
true.
about minis.
Can paint him white. Can make a white orc.
I think I'm gonna do that.
All right, so the killer boss with the stab grot. Now, the most important thing about this model is that he comes with a little baby grot
He's
gladiator
fun.
thing. Yeah, who can also do damage, or he can take hits for your killer boss, and he has a chance of dodging that hit. So he can be either a meat shield or additional damage, and it's really cool. He's very
it's
killy.
fun. It's so dumb.
I
It's why
know.
I love. It's why I love these guys.
And note that there's a dead stormcast on his base, which makes him 10 times cooler.
Hmm.
Now, John is like, he doesn't know whether or not the flail or the scare shield is better. Now, if you want a more survivable boss, you get the Scare Shield. But if you just want more DPS, you get the Flail, because you do
Mhm.
have your little friend here to tank hits for you. So it's really
Yes.
gonna be up to you. Personally, I would run with the Scare Shield because the shields are so dumb, because they're dumb looking shields. But um, it's really up to you. Now, the tongue stick. So the Merc Knob with Belchabana, which is the pinnacle of orc craftsmanship, according to Mr. Lansang over here. So
Uh,
like holy shit, this thing actually burps on you. The banner burps on you. Holy shit. And the gas that comes from the burp lets you ignore enemy spells on a 5 plus,
mhm.
like making death players even sadder. And it can also give mortal wounds to enemies that get caught in it. So it's just really good value. Plus, this is probably the most Lotter orc looking orc in the set.
It's such a nice model.
It is a very very nice model. The tongue stick is great, man.
It
This is actually my
is.
favorite Orruk Warclans model, Mr. Tongue Stick. My personal fave. So, there's the Swamp Kala Shaman with the Pot Grot. So, yeah, he also has like a little baby grot that also like mixes potions. So this boy has the option to either cast one spell or give out drugs. And you should definitely
Mm,
be giving out the drugs, because like the effects are
drugs.
so good and they don't rely on casting. He is absolutely required in any Cruel Boys army, and if you're getting like any of the AOS starter sets or Dominion, you're gonna get one of these anyway, so you're set.
Mhm.
He has this very Kalima aura around him that I like. So, Gut Rippas. These are
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be your basic battle line. John really likes the shields
they
because they're
are
so
awesome.
dumb.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Mm.
They can also legit scare enemy units into a -1 to hit with their very, very scary shields. But good luck doing this to death, because it is a bravery roll, and death is actually the Space Marines of this setting, because we're the good guys. So we get and they shall know no fear. So yeah, the bravery game is what death does best. Osiarch Bone Reapers are like Space Marines. So
Oh
now
yes.
we get to the cheese. Behold the man skewer bolt boys, the orc snipers of lore, imported from 40k, long thought to be the Vindicary assassins. And according to John, they seem really strong. And Cash notice, they fucking are. They're amazing.
I,
The only thing I
I
can say about these guys is you spam them.
I I wonder why they're called man skewer bolt boys. What would they do?
The age of man is over. The age of the Orruk has come. Honestly, this is probably the main reason to get into Cruel Boys. They have insanely good shooting. They do deal mortal wounds equal to their damage on sixes, and you can increase their damage with various things, like with your sub faction abilities, with Big Yellows, with your characters. There's so much synergy here that will make them arguably better than Lumineth. Now, the Hobgrotsitas, they're cheap, they're sabby. They're also stubby. They are grots with jaundice. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're literally their only purpose is to die for someone else, preferably your bolt boys. You bring them to screen your bolt boys, so like people don't charge your bolt boys, because these are important, these are not important. You want these to live, these can die. It's okay.
Sounds right.
They've also gotten a points drop since Dominion. So they're even cheaper meat shields now. So good value, and you're getting a bunch of them anyway.
Mhm.
Now, behold,
Oh,
the DJ Killbow, as I like to call it, in honor of our dear friend DJ Killboy, who also plays orcs. So this thing is the new Lord of Monster Slaying, the new King of the Meta. You should be taking three, and it also has freaking poison weapons, meaning its attacks turn into mortal wounds on sixes. Like what the fuck? It does so much damage to monsters. This is how you kill monsters. You bring a lot of these. You maximize your artillery allowance on these guys. And you spam these and you spam these and you take whatever character support you want. Honestly, and it's an amazingly cool model. Like look at it. It's like a giant frigging sniper crossbow.
It it's like that sniper guy from Trigun almost. That like just a big ass rifle. It looks like
You
it
know,
wants
I
to shoot
didn't
across the
actually
field.
watch Trigun.
Really?
Yeah, like
Oh,
I know the opening theme for Trigun because it's iconic, but like I didn't actually watch the show. It was on the same time slot as like one of my grandmother's telenovelas, so so could not.
well, it's on Netflix now, but only in English dubs. So,
Oh, I will hard pass then. Um,
yeah.
so Michael says this is the general killer. It's also the monster killer. This makes Sons of Behemoth cry. This makes Nagash cry. It makes Archeon cry. It makes everyone cry. Anyone who's a big monster will cry. Like
I'll
gods. This is so good.
have to remember that.
Now this the Dobby Golem. So the
Uh,
Dobby Golem is an absolutely hideous model. I don't like it. You know, it's very survivable. I mean, it gives friendly units within 18 a +1 to hit, even non-cruel boys, so it's good in Big Wa. I mean,
oh
it's
no,
good, but I can't endorse it because it's just ugh, it's ugly.
Israel is really ugly. It's kind of creepy too.
Yeah, I don't want this in my room.
it
Do you want this in
wa-
your room staring at you at
it
night?
it watches you while you sleep.
Dobby has given Master a sock. Dobby is free. Yeah, it's even ugly. Like, I mean, bring it if you want, but like, I can't endorse it. Like, it's not bad. It's a pretty good like unit in game, but you know, ugh, I'm just gonna change the slide now. Okay, so universal units. Um, I don't think you can even bring him out on October. He's not even an orc. He's like a house elf crossbred with Gollum and like
and a giant.
and the giant.
It's Dobby
Ugh.
Gollum and the giant had a three-way, and
And that thing came out. Yeah. So there's only really one universal choice, and it's Kragnos, the end of empires. Um,
Mhm.
He is the horse for the horse god. He's expensive, as expensive as Archeon, but not as good. So he's like a god character, but he specializes against Stardrake, Draconith, Dracoth, and Dracoline. And we are gonna be seeing a lot of those because they are the new Stormcast cheese. So
Mhm.
if you like the model, he's not gonna be such a bad choice. He's a big beat stick dude with high survivability, but he's probably not as good as he is for his points. And
Oh,
yeah, Eric is correct. He is weirdly smaller than the other large god. He's not as big as he looks. Weirdly enough, like you
oh.
think he's super big, right? He's not really super big. He's not as big as he looks. So that's another disappointing thing for me. So Kragnos apparently also drew himself on his shield. So his shield also has a Kragnos shield. So I'm not sure if someone
uh,
else made it for him or like he drew it on himself. He really likes his arts and crafts, but you know,
orcs and
uh,
crafts.
so I know Eric hates this model with a passion because it's a horse. Uh, and I know he hates horses. But if you're into the whole horse aesthetic, like you do you can totally get them. Like he's not gonna be like the best value buy, but considering the other cheese that you have in this army, like bringing him may sort of bring you back to the level of fairness. It's like nerfing yourself. Okay, so Eric really does not like horses, so it removed the most offensive part of a horse, its brain. So let's talk about allies. You can take up to 25% of your points allowance on allies. So Iron Jaws can ally with the Bone Splitters, the Bone Splitters can ally with the Iron Jaws, and nobody loves the Cruel Boys. So no one allies with them. You can also any of them can also ally with the Gloomspite Gits for lots of gobos or to bring the OG giant into here. And you can bring any of the four mercenary mega gargants from Sons of Behemoth. So if you want to if you want to get Trogoths or you want to get gobos or you want to get mega
Personally,
gargants.
I'm just planning to get a um, Mangler Squig just because I really like the model and find room for it in my list.
Well, that's the thing naman talaga about the hobby. You buy the models that you like. At
Yes.
the end of the day, you do play with the models, but you're gonna be looking at them more than you're gonna be playing with them.
Yes.
So if you don't like the models, like why bother? And
Indeed.
like it's really a rule of cool. Play what you want. If you like Ragnos, play Ragnos. If you like strip works, you want to be Mel Gibson and be anti-Semitic, probably no. But it's a rule of cool. You play what you want.
Mhm.
No one else has the right to tell you how to play your game except Kesh, who's telling you not to play Lumineth. Um, though of course, Master Jeff is correct, where you should just get them all and give me more money. That is actually the correct answer here. So, how to actually get started? We discussed this earlier. To get started in Warcry, buy one of these three boxes. So you can get the Gut Ripas, or you can get the Harbinger or the Dominion box. You can get the Savage Oroks box. This is really all you need for Warcry Savage Oroks. Super sulit. And for Iron Jaw Z, you're gonna be getting this. Now, for Bone Splitters, apparently the Savage Orc box builds 12 different models for Warcry Warband. So it's incredibly value. And it's also solid battle line for your AOS Bone Splitters army, which you should not be doing. So you just build these guys for Warcry, honestly. And if you only have 20 of them, it gives you more room to be playful with their tattoos because you're not gonna want to personalize tattoos for like a horde of 80 or 100. So, really, if you want to go Savage Orc, I think Warcry is the way to go. Iron Jaws naman, really, start collecting. Everything is apparently usable in
Yes.
Warcry. And it's also an amazing foundation for your AOS Iron Jaws army. You really buy three if you're starting Iron Jaws. Really. You can buy two. Like two is good value na, and then you pad it out with like cabbage and like brutes. But 2 to 3 is generally the recommended buy for Iron Jaws.
Mhm.
For Cruel Boys, you can get the Gut Ripas box to form the battle line of your AOS Cruel Boys army. But you can really just get the Harbinger box and it's 100% savings because you can split it with a Stormcast player or do an Eric and keep everything. And everything here is usable in Warcry. So there are three starter sets as we talked about in our big army series for Age of Sigmar. And there's the Warrior, the Harbinger, and the shit expensive one with terrain. And as a general rule for all of the three levels of GW starter sets, the middle one is usually the best value. It's been a trend for 2 editions now in both 40k and AOS. The middle one is always the best value. So this is why we're recommending Harbinger and not the rest because it is the best value. Now, if you want to start Orruk Warclans in AOS, depending on whether you want to go Bigwa, you want to go Bone Splitters, you want to go Cruel Boys, there are lot of ways to start. If you want to go Iron Jaws, you start with multiple start collecting Iron Jaws, which I can stagger for you so that their arrival won't like cause you to your wallet to commit Sudoku.
Murder
Um,
wallet.
yeah. So the Harbinger set is really good if you can no longer get a copy of Dominion, because a lot of the stuff is still exclusive to Dominion. Like Mr. Warg Dude is still exclusive to Dominion. I believe
Belcha Boy, I think, is still
the
exclusive.
the Belcher banner is still exclusive in Dominion. So really, if you can get your hands on Dominion, which we do have on 10% off for the entirety of October, it's a really good value buy. Otherwise, you start with the Harbinger if you want to start Cool Boys. If you want to start a Big Wa, you really just you can start nitpicking all the stuff that you want from the various sub factions, particularly the ones that work well even outside their sub faction, like Gordrak or what's his face, the Swamp Kala.
Hmm.
So it's really those things that you can build around, but you'll probably get more mileage by picking a sub faction. But the Big Wa is not a wrong choice. Like, again, it's play what you want. Now, as usual, we're gonna be showcasing painted models from
There's,
our friends who sent us pictures. In this case, it's John.
there's not a lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot, but there are some, and John's gonna walk you through it.
I just started like literally 3 months ago when Dominion came out.
Yeah,
Yeah, so these are the first models I painted from Dominion. The uh, Manscure Bolt Boys on the left. Those are actually painted almost entirely in contrast, besides the metallics. So I wanted to sort of have a, because I don't know if I'll have the patience or time to really give 100% and do the GW method of too thin coats and stuff. So I just use contrast. See, like the skin, the leather, that's all just one coat of paint on
yeah.
Zenithal
Contrast is
Highlight.
amazing on these things.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just have to be careful with you have to make sure it doesn't pool in places you don't want, or you can get
Yes.
like these stain marks, kind
Yeah,
of.
they're like blotchy with like sometimes droplets
Yeah.
if you put too much. Yeah. So it's something that you do have to be careful with when using contrast. Like it's no
Mhm.
longer the too thin coats, but it's not just slop it on. You still have to be a bit careful about it, but it's
Yeah.
definitely easier than the traditional method. And we still have your tongue stick. Tongue
Mhm.
stick is that contrast as well?
The Belcha banner for this, I actually did use the Duncan Rhodes method of.
Oh,
Uh, so this was actually like I would say 90%. Like I didn't put as many highlights as I should, and I haven't done like blending, but I really tried to do like highlights and shades and stuff. So it came out
yeah,
nice, I
you
think.
did an amazing job with the tongue stick.
Thank you. And
Yes.
that's how
You know,
much I like the model. Like, uh,
yeah. A nice tip from Michael. Always start with the light colors, then go through the darker colors when using contrast, because the
yep,
dark colors can actually cover up the lighter ones.
yep.
So yeah, it's a very good tip. If you
You
want
can
more
actually,
painting tips, yeah, you can
yeah.
actually go to like Lord Duncan's painting channel, and he
Mhm.
does give tips.
There are other tricks you can use for contrast too, like what Michael said. If you use a darker color first, sorry, a lighter color, you can actually draw like patterns that sort of blend together a bit better
Yeah,
if by painting a darker color on top of that with contrast
yeah.
as well.
I actually discovered that by accident because like I accidentally painted over something, and then I liked the effect, so I kept doing it. So
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of things that you can learn by making mistakes. Like As Bob Ross once said, there are no mistakes, only happy little accidents. Except spilling your snake bite leather.
Uh,
That is not a happy little accident. That is a sad accident.
it's an expensive accident.
Yeah. And here is the completed red cabbage.
Oh,
Like honestly, it's great.
this is like maybe 80% done. I'm still planning to add more highlights because I actually wanted to play with the yellows a bit more. But yeah, it turned out really nice. And that's actually another nice thing I discovered semi recently. Like I didn't capture it too well in the picture, but the the base is actually colored with, I forget the specific one, but it's one of those GW texture paints.
Oh,
Yeah, so like
the base.
so you just slop it on, then after a while it dries up, then it sort of takes on the texture. That
Yeah,
so
it's a texture paint.
yeah, this one is, I think, mud, Sterling
Stirland
mud,
mud.
maybe,
Yeah,
or
it's
Earth,
Stirland mud. Grellan
Earth.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is the Grellan Earth. It's
So that comes out
light
like
pink.
broken, dusty earth.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
There's a red version of that. It's Martian Iron Earth.
Uh,
Uh, is the yellow here contrast or did you do traditional?
no, that one's traditional. The the lighter colored contrasts need a lot more planning. They're not as easy to use.
Yeah, they are. But they are still easier than doing multiple thin
It
layers.
is. I highly recommend contrast paints for beginner painters. The only thing you need to really be careful of is your brush control and the amount that you put.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. One of these days, like I will be bothered into making like a contrast how to use contrast video.
Mhm.
Though, Michael, the thing with airbrushing the contrast is you actually lose a lot of what makes contrast great, which is the pooling. So you lose a lot of the shading part of it, but it works more like a glaze when you're using it with the airbrush. So it makes an amazing glaze, especially over metallic, which
Mhm.
is what I use for my Thousand Suns, which I guess we can feature another time when we do that contrast painting episode.
The other downside of contrast is of an airbrush. I mean, is that's money that I would rather spend on a model.
Well, when you already have an airbrush, it like honestly, it does save time, but
I'm sure. I'm
depending
sure.
depending on how much you're painting. If you're only painting a single model, you're gonna be spending like more time cleaning your airbrush than painting your model.
Uh,
So yeah, it really depends on what you're painting to see whether or not you're saving time. So that's really it for our Orc review. Um, no more Oroks for this month, like for October,
oh.
because we're out of works. They put it all into one book, so like it's one episode.
Mhm.
If you're gonna be asking why we're not doing Gloomspite Gits, first of all, they're not orcs, they're grots.
Yes.
And while they may also be greenskins, Gloomspite Gits are so bad right now that the only thing that will happen if I make a faction focus is that it'll make you not want to buy them. So they're just so bad right now, and it'll just make everyone sad and waste everyone's time.
Oof.
So I'm gonna wait until they get an update to actually do an episode on them. So just so like no one feels bad. But if you do like the Gloomspite models, like go ahead. Like there's absolutely nothing stopping you from playing it.
Mhm.
Like you'll just lose a lot, but like you can always play against other people who lose a lot, who suck at dice. So hey, if you have a shit army but really good dice luck, you can still win tournaments.
True. True.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. You get used to it, but like it's still really hassle.
And if you don't have an airbrush, that's like three or four models worth, which I don't want to spend.
Yeah, because you have to buy a compressor, you have to build
Yeah.
your airbrush booth, you
Mhm.
have to build, you have to buy your airbrush, you have to get like airbrush compatible paints, you have to buy the cleaners. So
Oh,
yeah,
plus an area you need to set up by
yeah,
window so that you can
yeah.
your
I
vent will
actually
actually
have
go.
this exhaust tube that I
Mm.
snake out to the window. So we're gonna take a look at our calendar. Oh, which I forgot to put. Anyway, so calendar for this month is let me just open it real quick.
Calendar sama.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure it was on Faction Focus Orcs. Okay. Ta-da! There it is. Okay. Fixed. Okay. So no. Today is our special. We're not gonna have a special this week. Our Faction Focus got moved to Saturday, and next week we're gonna be doing our Faction Focus Demons for 40k, featuring our friends Mr. Tits and Doctor Go. Then we're gonna be having the exploring horror RPGs with Mr. Doctor on the 23rd. We're gonna be having my personal episode, Faction Focus Soulblight Grave Lords, on the
Mhm.
29th before Halloween. And our 30th is gonna be our Halloween Tambay special, where we're just gonna hang out, show you guys what we've done for the month, and you can share what you've done with the month throughout the month to us as well. Then we can look at them together and like, hey, claps, yay, you got your backlog. You got rid of shit in your backlog, and we're also gonna be interacting with the comment section a lot. So it's just really gonna be a Tambay special. So we're planning to do that every end of the month from now on, because it does get a lot of engagement, which means more views and a greater chance of Mikey eventually earning money. And it also does not require us to prepare shit ahead of time, and we are lazy motherfuckers. So it's this low hanging fruit that we will shamelessly pluck. So John, I remember you volunteered to help us with War Mahord's
Yes.
faction
Armor
focuses.
hordes. Yeah.
So you want we can get started on that next month.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So anyone if you have a preferred faction that you want us to start with for Warma Hordes, please do let us know in the comments. Tell us what you want to see for our first Warma Hordes faction focus.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be with John here, since I haven't played Warma Horde since I won that tournament once, so that I remain undefeated.
Wow. The humble brag.
No, I actually joined the tournament to win best painted, because I painted my Cador as Space Wolves.
Wow.
Yeah, I sculpted the hair on Butcher to make him Lehman Russ, fat Lehman Russ. Yeah, and I just walked
uh,
in there to win best painted. Like, the award was mine. However, you can't win like the tournament itself and win best painted. So I got shafted out of best painted by accidentally winning the tournament.
wow.
I was like, no, my painted trophy.
Hmm.
It was a very sad day. Hey, Louis, like, gusto mo palit tayo? No, I think I'll keep this. I know that's rightfully mine anyway as well. Yeah, the judges were like, you would have won best painted, but no, you had to win the tournament.
uh,
It was like, no.
Good times, good times.
Yeah, I just wanted to win a Warm Hordes tournament with the a best painted Warm Hordes tournament with a 40k army. Since we did call the event like the Age of Signar.
Oh, makes
Yeah, that was a
sense.
long time ago. So yeah, tell us what faction you want John to read about
Oh, I
for
don't
Warm
need to
Horde.
read anymore because it's all in my brain.
What about when new stuff comes out? You still have to read that.
But that's rules and that's fast. So less reading.
You know, that's also what's in the core book, right? Rules.
Uh,
Anyways,
thanks.
so we're probably gonna pull it up, like see what people wanna see. And according to Eric, you're gonna have to read because of the new update on the 25th.
That's minimal reading, Eric. I'm willing to do that.
All right, so John has committed to doing faction focus next month for Warm
Some.
Hordes. Yeah, so look forward to that. So like that's slotting in, that's checking in one box for November.
Mhm.
I like to have like the schedule for November done before like the end of October. What? Why? All right, we're out of money. But thank you, Michael, for supporting the store, even though you're
Supposed.
broke now.
You could be less broke by if you let go of a certain model.
So John really wants to take that break of us off your hands. I mean, I don't care. Cash cares not from whence the cash flows. Cash for the cash god.
Cash for the cash.
Yes, cash for the cash. So again, for the entirety of October, get 10% off on the Octarius box set and the Dominion box set, and they will come with freebies. And
Mhm.
please do like and subscribe to all of our social media, to YouTube, to Twitch, and to our Facebook. And very special thanks to our guest Jonathan, who actually
But
read for today six,
I
almost
went
7 pages, right?
I went against my principles for you guys.
Yes, we love him so much, and he's gonna be helping us out with faction focus for Warma Hordes next month. So, like, everyone, give him a round of applause. Which, of course, we're not gonna hear because
Yeah.
it's on stream.
Thanks
But
for having me, and thanks to my friends, my RPG group, Ryan and Arms, for watching. I think Kim was also watching. Getting in. Thank
mm,
you, thank you.
yes, of course, we'd love to have you back more, and we will have you back more since you have committed.
Indeed.
You've even committed to reading.
Why are
Like,
you repeating the message? Like what?
what?
What? Wow, that's.
Just for the reading. Reading.
Uh,
I personally like reading. I enjoy reading more than videos. So
mm, that's nice.
words are nice as long as you have imagination, like an orc.
But it's easier to imagine when you can see it.
Just imagine how broken orcs would be if they could read.
Yes. See, if we knew spells, we would be even brokener.
Wait, Eric, I didn't know you were brown. Oh my gosh. You can't say that. If you're my people, why are you white? All right. Now we're gonna sign off before I get super racist.
Thanks.
Though Eric claims that his birth certificate does say that he is of the brown race and that he will show us photographs. All right. So I am waiting to see this evidence that Eric is actually of the brown people.
Mhm.
I swear, if your last name is not like Singh or Pranjani or something, or you're gonna show us like a fake birth certificate showing that you could have joined the Milo special like Little Olympics in 2001.
Hey, I could totally take a bunch of 5-year-olds. So like, let's
Yeah,
not laugh at that achievement. It's very
I mean,
legitimate.
I swear, I feel like when we see Eric's birth certificate, he's also gonna show us that he was facing off against Bongbong Marcos in 2001 in the Milo Little Olympics finals. Anyway, that's all we have for you guys tonight, and I am very hungry and sleepy, and like I'm sure John wants to like cuddle his dogs. I also want to
Yes,
cuddle my dogs.
always. And
So
guys,
good night, everyone, and
get
thanks
some
for
sleep,
watching.
Cash. Get some sleep. Thanks.
Ciao.